Well, the first big challenge is dealing with uncertainty. This coronavirus has certainly made things subject to change. That said, they hope to have a plan out in early June. And as long as things continue in the right direction, Oregon Department of Education Director Colt Gill said he expects school buildings to open in most cases. Gill made that statement in an interview with the Malheur Enterprise newspaper. He told the paper some schools may have to continue distance learning if infection levels remain high in their communities, and that the schools that do open may need to do a blend of in-class and distance learning because of staff shortages and the need for smaller class sizes. The school's chief says he's got a big group working on all the details, and they are also working with district superintendents right now. The key challenges, we mentioned staffing. Many school employees are eligible to retire, and many are vulnerable to the virus because of their age and health conditions. Also, school buses. Think about it. Social distancing rules would mean only one student per seat in every other seat on the bus. One superintendent said they may have to split the school day into two to allow for a second set of bus runs. Educators are asking the state to loosen social distancing standards so they can bus more kids. And superintendents are also asking for flexibility to run their districts where they need it. They hope that's part of the plan. Again, it should be released in early June. Tim Gordon, KGW News.